it's called the mixed media shader. Where is it? So the AI mix shader. And what that does is it gives you two shaders that you mix with a black and white map, which would be the mix weight. And you'd have to create each shader, which in my do that with AI standard surface. You find your file, which I have a bunch of tiled textures from various classes in the past that I'll just bring up.
How did your art show go, by the way?
Oh, great! Yeah, it was a lot of people went. It was a warm day. It was funny because it was raining, but it was really warm. But tons of people showed up, and it was fun. Got a bunch of people pre-ordering the graphic novel, which is kind of the theme of the whole thing. Is I've got this big story that I've been working on that I want to release first as a graphic novel, and then we'll see if it goes anywhere else. But that I have a whole bunch of sculptures involved in it, and the gallery show was really fun. On June 18th, I'm going to do a storytelling event, which I think I'm going to also try to do live, where there's a video projection of it online. But that's another event we're going to do at the gallery. It was fun. It was hadn't done a solo show for a long time. That was really interesting. You end up talking to a lot of people. Everybody wants to talk to you. Okay, sorry, just I've got them in here. Tons of things here. Where is it? The Corvin Castle. That's got stuff. So I got like a grass tile, and then another one would have a. Let's see, another AI standard surface. And we have a dirt tile. So you get two different tiles, and although can't see them in the viewport here, I'm going to turn on the Maya render, the Arnold Maya render. I auto detect threads always seems to make this crash. So if I turn that off under System Arnold Renderer System, and I'm going to -12 so that it's not using my cores, all my cores for rendering. It's using some of it for rendering here. I should be able to see the shader actually working. Hopefully this doesn't crash on me. Okay, there we go. So this is grass. And then if we go to the material, you get the AI mix weight. So it's either grass or stone. And then if you get a black and white map, which I'm sure I've got one, it can be hand painted, or you can use you can actually use height information, like you were talking about, like elevation. But basically, if you get a black and white map, of course you need to turn on alpha's luminance. You get to have a mix between two different shaders. And I just pointing this out because this is how video games work. It's how we can get massive amounts of terrain to be interesting and not just be broken up by polygons. Those black and white maps for Maya Arnold, whereas Unreal, it's kind of stores it in vertex data, which is awesome because you can have huge terrain with all kinds of different, yeah, here's a different alpha, all kinds of different variations of pattern. And with Unreal 4, I know you can have like 4 different tiles and you're just painting them all over each other, and it looks like decals, but it's just a layers of different masks. So I don't know if Marmoset can do this. If you don't end up doing it this way, you can get even more detail in. Basically, this is, tiles are great if you do them well, but if you are able to paint it by hand, you can get way more than way more visual interests, and you can adjust every stone to look just right. So I don't have a problem if you paint it by hand. I just want to show how it's done in the video game industry, and why it's done this way is just to save on texture space, so you don't have giant textures for your terrain. But I mentioned it real quick. I totally forgot to show anybody how it actually works, which is if you are tiling a texture, the problems are the edges. So I'm sure you know this, Andrew. This is really, I think Lily has gone through this too, but if Margot has not seen this little trick, it's just in Photoshop, there's a filter, other offset, and this filter offsets it with, as long as it's just this square this square block here, it'll offset it and then bring the each side over the same amount of pixels. So that way I can fix the seams, or in this case, there didn't really seem to be much seams. See, like one area that was kind of seamy, but most of it was fine. But what this does is now I can paint in the middle, and this ends up being a tile texture. I love to define a pattern with tile textures so I can test them. If you define a pattern in Photoshop, then you could fill it. And this way I could say I'm looking at a big terrain and I wanted to fill it with the pattern that was that tile. And that way it just gives me an understanding of what that tile is going to look like in a big terrain. So what I would do is go back to this and see if I, maybe it needs little rocks or something more going on. This is, looks just like leopard print because I didn't really spend time developing the surface as any specific surface, but I just wanted to show how you tile something. This would be a hand painted tile, but I could easily enough bring a photo in here and do the same thing and try to create a tile that way. And then we bring that into a mix shader, and then we use an alpha map to mix it. So this is this mix weight is using this alpha, which grab it here, you can see how boring it is. Where is it? Alpha. Yeah, this one here. It's just this black and white texture, and that makes it so that you get grass growing in this spot, whereas rock is everywhere else. And this is generally how we do it to save texture space. It's not because we like doing it, it's totally because it helps save texture space for large terrains.